So today we're going to be doing our little session 0 character building for the upcoming episodes of Candela Obscura. As part of this process, we're going to make our characters, we're going to discuss kind of where you fit in the world, and have some fun little questions and mysteries to discuss and or volunteer for. So as part of that, I guess first off, let's go ahead and go through the options we have for characters. We've done a couple play tests. I wanted to kind of get an idea for you to all start filling out what kind of character you want to make for the series. You guys have a clear idea?
I do.
What you got? What you got here?
Yeah.
Robbie has a page printed out that he already.
You already prepped for this?
The color coding was your idea.
I love it. I love it.
Stole it and refined it.
Teacher's cat.
Yeah,
I wanna be teacher's pet.
I kind of like the idea of an overly cerebral, sort of skeptic denier in this world of fantasy and macabre horror. So I've chosen the professor class, or specialty, I should say, specifically the scholar. I've got a few little things picked out here that maybe we should wait until they pop up in the play to go through, but I mean, how deep do I go? Do I just say who I think he's gonna be,
Yeah.
or?
And in fact, I'll put this out here. Unless you feel like particularly sharing your character's abilities, you don't have to. Also, as far as your catalysts go, and your question necessarily, let's hold off on those until we have the characters decided, because there's a couple fun things I'd like to do here. So we have a what?
I have a scholar, and he is a professor. Is his specialty.
Professor.
Professor Howard Margrove.
Howard Margrove.
Yeah,
I love
PhD. PhD. Not MD, but a PhD.
Oh, you changed. Okay, Margrove.
Margrove. Yeah. Professor Howard
I gotta get my
Margrove.
notes going.
You guys, I have a note here that says, "Who's the dude?"
This is me.
That's the dude.
Speaking of which, he does identify as a he/him, so that is his persuasion of sorts. And I am going to keep my catalyst and style to myself. I'm going to keep my special abilities to myself, and my gear. Is that okay? Or would you like to know?
I'll eventually want to know, but for the purposes of the session 0, just
Okay, good.
Yeah. Just email me your already pre-developed character sheet when you get a chance. Don't worry.
I'm ready to play right now already.
But that
need to
said,
catch up.
I am totally open. I'm not married to anything. I'm totally open to changing it up if it doesn't suit what everyone's
So
doing.
you would be fine if I did that.
You may have it if you
myself.
I get to wear my hair in a messy bun.
Great.
This trade.
But yeah, I'm really I've been thinking about this character since we've been messing around with this. So yeah.
Heck yeah, it's exciting. Awesome. Who else wants to hop up here with a character class and profession you're looking at?
That's the face of confidence.
Role and specialty, I should
You know
say.
me, confident Connie. Do we have That's actually what I'm going with.
I love it. That's fun. I love a little alliteration.
That's perfect.
I'm toying with 2. I'm toying with 2.
What are you feeling
But
with?
I kind of want to hear what everybody else is
To
gonna
make
go.
sure that
To make sure, because I have 2. I have one that could be a little bit more fun, a little bit more
Be the one that's more
funny, I guess, or there's
Okay.
one that's a little bit more serious, which
Okay.
is
I see what you're saying.
depending on tone, where I'm like, okay, this could be fun. If do I want
Okay.
to do drama, or do I want to do comedy?
All right.
Not that it has to be one or the other, but they're both. I feel like they're both.
Yeah,
very
there's a middle ground depending on how you build it. But okay, so I'll put you on deck for the time being.
different. Okay, yeah, put me on deck.
All right, Laura, Anjali, who wants to step up?
Okay, I'm thinking of being an occultist.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
And to remind everyone, for the setting of Candela Obscura too, magic, supernatural stuff is very, very, very not known. It is not widespread. Magic doesn't exist in this world as far as 98% of the population is concerned, and the rest of it's superstition, and the handful of people that are aware of it. Which is why an occultist is a really, really cool, very unique individual to have that perspective. So just keep that in mind as you develop your character.
Cool.
It's not like you go to the store and be like, I'm an occultist.
Right. Definitely, it's not something they would admit to.
Correct.
All right.
You could just say, I'm a cultist. And
I'm
it'd be totally
I
fine.
am a cultist.
Any occultists
wouldn't-
out there, that's
That's fine. Totally fine.
yeah.
I have 5 husbands. My name, we're sharing that. is Arlo black?
Ooh, I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. How much do we say today?
I mean, you can say as much as you want to. Like I said, holding off on Catalyst for the moment because things might change as we go. But you can talk a little about like the vibe of your character if you want to. You know.
She. It's kind of like all wrapped up into the Catalyst, though.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you want to keep that Catalyst a secret, just describe how you see them in your head.
I see her. Kind of as like slight a frame, with kind of like a stare that kind of goes past people sometimes. She's distracted. And she has one arm that is slightly gray in tint.
Oh. I'm sure that's fine.
That's normal.
Okay, cool. So we have.
Here's a glove. No. Most people would know that, unless you're part of our group.
We know.
Does she talk
Like one of
that?
these- like one of
Because
these gloves,
I would
like a
love it if
fancy
she would
glove.
talk
Everything
like-
she
Like
says.
the
Everything she says.
It's a fancy glove. It's satin, and she talks like this. No,
I
she
would
doesn't.
please do.
I'm here for all
What
the
are you
vibe.
thinking for accent?
Oh, I think she's just going to talk. I'm not gonna do. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing an accent. Just kind of an affectation, a little bit.
I like that.
You're so
Yeah.
good. You make her voice sound so different.
She's like an indoor kid, Judy Garland.
Oh, that's
I say as an indoor kid. All right, so so that means that brings us to we have a scholar who's a professor, and of the weird role we have an occultist.
I'm weird.
All right.
My character's name is Charlotte Eves. You can call me Charlie.
Charlie Eve?
Charlie Eves, or just Charlie, because Charlie Eves is it's weird. What can I tell you? She's rather smooth. Just like you have a look that what looks right past you, she has a look that looks right at you. And you can always trying to size everyone up. What else can I tell you about her? Catalyst won't be telling you that. Not yet. Skip to the end. She is absolutely obsessed with learning about magic. Like, obsessed. But using it for what, you don't know. Don't know if she's going to be sticking to this accent. We'll find out. She is quite eager to be all of your friends. Very eager.
All right, so Slink is the role we're going with over here.
Slink.
Oh, you went with Slink?
Slink.
Oh.
In my slinky
I
gum.
don't even remember seeing Slink.
Slink is one of the roles, and the specialties are beneath that.
Oh.
Live in pencil.
Two things I'm toying with, and I'm gonna need, since I have a really hard time making a decision.
Okay.
Toying with a soldier, or like, kind of like a Newsies kid. You know, 19 was kind of been like a ward of the state. Something happened to her family. And it's kind of just like been living on the streets, pickpocketing. Hey, you know?
I mean, that's got my vote just based
Is that how it is?
Is that how it is?
I feel like that'll be. I love the soldier, but I feel like this will be more fun because I know with sometimes making those really sort of characters like that, I can end up being a little quiet.
No, that makes sense.
So I'm wondering. I think I'm gonna go Newsies kid.
Let's do it.
We have
I'm gonna go
some-
Newsies kid.
Sounds
we
like you're
definitely have
gravitating
some,
toward
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and we definitely have some story overlap there,
Okay.
which is great.
Okay, so I am gonna go with magician, but I'm not necessarily playing it like she does tricks. It's more of like the kids in the streets being able to pick pockets, being able to take stuff, being
Should we be
able to
switching
like
Distraction, sort of.
distractions.
Should we be switching with this then? Do you want to play this one, or does that make sense?
It is totally up to
No,
you.
I'm asking.
Because I actually have things I could do from this one, and I have things I could do from this one.
And I could make sense in either of these.
That's the thing. Like,
Pick
because
which one you like, whatever you like.
I'm not capable of doing that, making
you
decisions.
can play the same things and just choose different features from each and have different specializations and different builds and feel very different. So don't feel like you're not allowed to overlap.
This makes sense from my story, but that makes sense for what I think how I want her to play. This.
You can be a magician who's a criminal background.
Can I? Oh, please, sir, can I have...
You want
All right, let's do it.
You're only bound by your imagination.
Right. You can't, like, take the top part and the bottom part and smoosh them together, right?
I mean-
2 different sheets? You can't.
Well, there are some options as if you in long-term play where you would be able to take abilities from other specialties. But until we get there, if we get there, play what feels best for what you want to do in the game and where your character is now. If you feel they have a background as a criminal, but their current position in life leans more magician, you want to blend those two together narratively, then that is completely fine, and you can choose one or the other.
I'm just going to show you.
I'm gonna go with the Newsies kid.
Okay,
I'm gonna think of a name while you're looking.
Okay.
I'm thinking. What were you gonna say?
No. I was just saying, like, so you're choosing Newsies kid, and
Do we like the name Alice or do we like the name August? Augie.
I love a name with a good short...
Augie's pretty.
I'm gonna go with August.
All right.
Short Augie for short. Let's go August James. Augie James.
Augie James!
Adorable.
Oh!
Because James is kind of a,
I already
you know,
want to pinch his cheeks.
it's a, I don't really have a last name. James, is what they give you everybody in the orphanage. Is this what I'm doing? This is weird.
Apparently this is...
Got it.
This is too much, right?
No.
You were
Yes,
looking at me a little funny?
I'm just trying to read this because I'm blind.
The look of anticipation.
I feel like I'm watching Gail at work right now.
I think, yeah. So, oh man, it's a little bit gay. Wait, I feel like I haven't. Okay.
I love it. I think it's great.
Okay.
Okay.
Augie James.
Okay, Augie James. Augie James feeling particular role or specialty?
I think I'm gonna go with criminal.
Okay.
Because there's a couple of these that work with
Great.
the narrative that I'm doing.
Let's do it. All right.
Especially saw this coming. I saw this coming.
I love it. I love it. Great. So now that we have your characters, let's go ahead and go through the character creation basics. So, first off, choose any action with a 0 in it and raise it to 1. So, be any of the stats under your nerve, cunning, or intuition. You just go ahead and find one that says 0 and add 1 to it. There you go. I'm proud of you. Then distribute 3 action points however you'd like. So anywhere in any of your character's actions there, you can go ahead and increase them up to 3 points, up to a maximum of 2. And feel free to, discuss.
I'm worried about this top block.
I know. I don't ever choose anything up there.
But I feel like someone has to.
You got some stuff
I
up
got
there.
a specialty top block here.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not much for mobility or finesse, but I've got some punch, break, stab, attack. My guy's kind of a smarty, so I'm okay. I'm doing pretty good on survey and focus,
Okay.
but obviously
I have a good focus and sense.
I have no sense.
I have no sense.
Okay.
Excellent.
Makes sense for the
I
occultist.
was yes.
I feel like I'm gonna be more in cunning.
That's how you're gonna play it more.
I think so.
Okay. Maybe I'll be bad at hiding, but I can talk to people. I'm good at reading people.
I'm good at
Good at reading and talking is a pretty useful skill set.
yeah.
somebody,
I've got a little bit of reading, a little bit of sneaky McSneakerson.
Okay. What is some control for? Like drive, shoot. Oh, actually driving an automobile?
Like trying to drive a vehicle if you're trying to chase something or get away from being chased or going through a dangerous area. That also is aiming a gun if you're trying to shoot something or throw something. Finesse, very carefully utilizing something that requires very delicate movement.
Oh, okay, I want to do that.
So now that you filled in your character actions, you can spend 6 drive points. So already on your character drives, you should have a couple of the bottom small boxes filled in. Those come automatically. There are 6 more of those that you can fill in however you like, but no drive can start above a 6.
I only put my minimum drive in the stuff that I'm good at because I got this regen ability, and it makes me nervous just looking at it though, because I'm supposed to be like, that's what I'm supposed to be good at.
But you're also rolling 2 dice every single time.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
And with depending on how you set it up, one of them may be gilded. So I don't think you have marked there.
What'd you get?
Did nothing. Just 2 tears.
So we're supposed to have
Just
six.
testing the theory real quick.
Understood.
6 drive overall.
6 drive overall that you've added, and there should be 3 on there that's already filled in. So
6 drive you've added.
Yes.
Okay.
Doing control
Alrighty.
and hide.
So now everyone gets to choose one ability from your role and one from your specialty if you haven't already. I'm sure many of you have been eyeing a few of those. If you've already chosen them, has everybody gotten their abilities?
I've got my first one.
Okay.
My specialty. I'm still looking at.
6.
Oh boy.
You make any change?
It's like so much fun, but it's so specific that like I don't know how often like it'll ever come up.
Which one?
Don't do this ritual.
Yeah, that sounds like the last one on mine, where you're like, oh, it's only one option, but it's so good in the moment. For storytelling.
I mean, like, here's the thing. If it sounds like fun, do it. If it seems like it's something that's rare, try and find opportunities to utilize it.
Just constantly.
It's also my job to make sure that you're not going to build a character who's like, I'm really, really good at this one thing. And then I'm like, cool, that thing's never going to come up in the story. Hope you had fun. Like, I'm going to try and create scenarios where you guys can do cool things and, feel your character's useful.
Okay.
Alrighty. Has everyone chosen their abilities?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now I'm going to bring you to my next question. One of you don't have a catalyst yet. The first episode is going to open with your catalyst that I get to decide.
Ooh.
Which one of you wants to be the volunteer to have the opening episode sequence?
Should we rollies it? Or do you guys have?
I mean, if character's a pretty strong catalyst and you don't want to volunteer for that, then don't. That's what I'm saying. If there's anybody here that is viable for that.
I mean, I could.
I feel like mine's pretty set.
Your character's an occultist, probably had a catalyst a while back, so it probably doesn't fit for you.
I would maybe go in that same zone, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Just because, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the mission is strong, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could do it.
You want to do it, Ashley?
Do you have a?
I mean, young buck.
Young Buck makes sense.
young orphan newsy living in the streets. That might
Kinda
actually work
makes
pretty
sense.
well.
Yeah,
You want to go that?
Crazy Pants sense.
Or do you have a? Do you want to do
You
it?
take it. You take it.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, cool.
Fun.
Cool.
It's
Okay,
so
I'll do it.
fun.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
So you don't have to worry about your catalyst specifically.
But then I'm gonna be alone at the table in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm
you pick
scared. I'm scared.
But you picked the fun one. Dive right in, baby. Dive right in.
So cool. So
All right.
I'll work with you a little bit, out of here with create a couple characters. By the way, for the record, if there are any characters you develop in your backstory after this that you want to, or even here at the table that you want me to incorporate into new fare, you've all been living here or around here for a while, so you would have a handful of people that you know that you kind of can lean on. So feel free to make a list of 2 or 3 or more NPCs that live in this city that could be of some history or connection to your character. What I might do here then. The rest of you are pretty confident on your catalysts then? You don't have to say them out loud here. Who here is very confident in their catalyst? Okay, Laura, you put your hand up first. Get the rest of you to go ahead and shove off for a little bit.
I have the basic stuff, but I haven't sorted out,
We're going to talk about it here. We're going to talk about it. You guys can hang out here for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and just talk jazz on your story for a minute here.
Okay.
And so for your character, for Arlo, what sort of catalyst are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking that she was betrothed. It was a friend of the family that they'd grown up together, kind of a shoo-in. and he played around in things that he shouldn't have. And an event happened. I don't know if he was trying to summon something or what, but the ground sort of opened and he disappeared. I walked in and saw something happening, and I tried to grab his hand and was unable to stop that from happening, but my arm was exposed to the bleed.
Okay.
And
That's pretty cool.
since then, I've felt almost half in, and able to see things that other people can't, but also am affected by it.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So let's say that you're betrothed, and you can develop more of these details and send me a backstory on this. You're betrothed, also probably an affluent figure, probably a family name that's been well known pre-war, and maybe had, like a lot of affluent individuals did, some stake in the prosperity of military times. Made quite a bit of cash from that. Would you say his interest in this was direct, meaning he had like a secret obsession with the occult, or did he kind of like fall in with the wrong crowd and maybe was just interested in weird supernatural things?
He always,
hobbyist?
yeah, he always had an interest in it since he was young and would joke around about things, but it didn't seem like, it seemed harmless. And it wasn't until he got older and went off to school that he started to really become obsessed with it.
Okay. So I'll say what you would know is he probably fell in with a few friends that also kind of found a fascination, almost like the young man. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a fraternity version of Bloody Mary games.
Yes.
You know, where they were just like, you know, I have an uncle who, you know, told me the story about this thing, and I found this weird locket that I keep having these odd dreams when I sleep. Yeah. Like, you know, if you say this person's name 3 times in front of the thing, you're supposed to have a spooky thing, but like, it seems silly. But there are a lot of especially elite fraternities.
Yeah, because he has the money, he can have access to things.
There's some weird superstitions and there's some weird traditions. I would say because of his monetary connections that his family also had involvement with like a number of art galleries and collectors through the city. And the one name that came to your mind that your betrothed told you right as this was happening was he was introduced to a collective of distributors throughout the city that he was really excited about, and he spent a few months trying to angle his position and his family's notoriety to finally have a meeting with somebody. All that he mentioned was they were a flow through for something called the Red Hand. And you can decide what relic this was, what ritual this was, but using that context for your character as background, you can go ahead and expand upon that. But that's the source of this. It was just like this weird name that he said. He's like, got me in contact with this group called the Red Hand, and I was able to finally buy something of actual, like, old Fairy history. And that's the key, Old Fair. Old Fair is the city that exists beneath New Fair. It is essentially like old Rome. If Rome had been destroyed by some terrifying cataclysm that is not fully understood. And so something from Old Fair is like saying it was pulled from ancient Sumeria and has some sort of connotation to ancient superstition. So you can go ahead and expand upon that.
I love it. Like. I love that.
So you go ahead and put together that character history. You can email me and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
So that is your catalyst. Hey, Anjali.
Hello.
All right. So, for your character, Charlotte Eves, what are you thinking for your catalyst?
So when she was a child, she met, well, not a child, when she was a teenager, she met a woman who dabbled in magic and said she would take her on as her apprentice. But her parents wouldn't let her hang out with this woman. They didn't trust her. They didn't think thought she had some ulterior motives. And in a moment when she got so angry that she ran away, when she came back, as she was entering the house, the entire house got sucked in, like crumpled into nothingness. It just disappeared.
That's awful.
Yeah. So she doesn't know if she caused it. She doesn't know how it happened. She doesn't know where they are. All she knows is there is some kind of mysterious power out there in the world, and she can either be owned by it, like what just happened to her parents, or she can harness it.
Okay.
So she went back and connected with this woman who happened to be a member of Candela Obscura, and that's how she stayed there. So now she's very intrigued and obsessed with trying to learn more and more and more about magic, and if there is any way that she can learn about a power that she can harness for her own safety.
Okay. How old was she when this happened?
16.
16. Okay. How old is she now?
31.
31. So how long has she been with Candela Obscura?
I think that her mentor brought her in around when she turned 21. She's like, you're an adult already.
So she's been pretty established in this group for a while. Okay. That would likely make you the senior member of this circle.
I'm always the oldest. I'm used to being the senior member in real life, too.
But just
Yeah.
to acknowledge when this circle, and the circle will likely be, and I'll talk about this in other people in the group, but it'll be already pretty much preset or is about to be pacted between you, Robbie, and Laura, with Ashley's character being kind of the new recruit
Right.
to lock in this new circle. So there'll be a little bit of conversation between the two of us that'll involve your history with the group, you know, 'cause it's not like you're working for them full time. It's like once every blue moon, once or twice a year, they'll reach out to you and bring you in on something. And so you may have possibly seen weirder stuff than most in this troop.
I also think that she has gotten by since her parents have been gone. It's not exactly that she's gotten by being like, she's not been a pickpocket or that kind of a criminal, but she's definitely into some underhanded dealings. She's very convincing. She's definitely a sweet talker.
I like it. Cool. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit back and forth on email.
Okay.
Have you just write this backstory up, kind of think about these things as you go, and we can kind of define elements, ask any questions, and we can shore up any things that you want to pursue before we start recording the first session. But
I do think, just based on what we know so far, I think I very much see myself in Augie.
fair enough. And if anybody here at the
Very.
table, you likely are the one person who knows who this is, or has maybe crossed paths with them once or twice. And we'll discuss that here in a little. We'll establish some, player character relationships here shortly.
Okay.
While Augie's probably the newcomer, you more than anyone, you're probably the only person that may have crossed paths
Okay.
at this point. But okay.
Is it better? I know it's storytelling is there is no better, there just is.
Yeah.
But is it better that if we're all closer to the same experience in this, or do we need me to
No,
be younger? Okay.
not at all. Not at all. You'll just be the most established
Okay.
to the point where this isn't your first rodeo.
Right.
Now, mind you, some of these things that you pursued might have ended up in just confirmation of it being hearsay.
Right.
Candela goes to many different things, and a number of them are indeed tied to some really terrifying supernatural events and some realities in the world that are still not very well understood. And part of the job of Candela is to investigate them, procure them, to make sure they don't fall in the wrong hands or are left uncontained, unstudied, and also to investigate things that turn out to be hoaxes,
Right.
turn out to be a bit of hysteria, which honestly, not that uncommon either.
Right. It also makes sense as you talk through this more that it makes sense to me that she's a little bit older because it would take a while to get over that trauma.
Yeah. And I like
Not even get over it, but just be functional.
Yeah, and I would say it would be less like the house vanished and you went to your mentor and went, "Hi,
The house
teach
vanished.
me about magic."
Yes, no, clearly.
Like were they also kind of like your caregiver for a short time while you were coming through this trauma? Or were they just a close friend and confidant that over time eventually
I
when
feel like they were like the cool auntie.
Right.
Like even though she was more like the next door neighbor, the lady down the street.
Yeah.
But she became very much my confidant because I wasn't close to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was definitely at the age, I was 16, I was at the age where I hate you guys. And
Right.
all of a sudden, those people that I've been mean to because I'm at the age where I hate them all,
Yeah.
something horrible happened to them.
Is this a circumstance where the experience was so odd and traumatic, seeing this happen, that you kind of didn't process it for a long time? And
Absolutely.
probably didn't even mention it to her for a while?
Yeah.
And then she kind of just saw there was something beneath
Yeah.
the surface and for years took care of you. 21 or whenever you felt it was viable
was
to
when
where
I could share it with her.
she helped you kind of understand this, and by the time you began to really relay what happened, remember it, and kind of parse it out, maybe even through like a form of low-end hypnosis from her point,
I like that.
recalling this event, that's when she realized, oh, you've experienced something that is not of normal, barren
So not
scenarios.
normal. Yeah.
And then wouldn't have told you immediately about Candela, but may have begun to kind of prime you, see whether your curiosity for this that may have been unlocked at the moments of this discussion, they began to guide you a bit. And then eventually, when you began to ask enough questions, decided to bring you into that fold a bit.
Right.
And
So
you-
it'd be more like 25-ish when I came in.
If you feel that feels natural.
If that
yeah.
makes, I mean, like, well,
It's
she's asking, whatever.
makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
for you
yeah,
logically.
yeah.
Like I'll follow your lead in this. Just kind of like logicking out the points of advancement.
Yes.
So, and so yeah, over the years you've likely been called, on Candela's behalf with your mentor. You can decide what your mentor is doing now, if they even survive this long, which is possible too.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know that she did.
You can think on it.
Yep.
And how that may have changed your story. Those are all things you can decide upon before we start our first session.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this is a fun trajectory to consider. And what this story will begin with you essentially be given. This is your first time leading a circle, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does, which is great because this is Anjali's first time leading a circle.
Perfect.
Works. Now, I do have a question about being the most like senior member. Does that mean I get to spin that wheel like the Price is Right wheel at some point during the show? 'Cause
Yes.
I really,
Yeah,
ever since I saw
you
it.
absolutely can.
I want to showcase Showdown.
Yeah, no, we'll just make sure we get in the people from Flip the Bitch that built it in here to watch it
Excellent.
happen, and then you guys can fight it out after.
I love that story.
Great.
Big
It's
shout
gonna be
out to
wonderful.
them because that thing is freaking cool.
It's really cool. Cool. You feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Welcome.
Glad to be.
Yeah. So let's go and talk for a minute here about Howard Margrove.
Sure.
What are you thinking about his history into his catalyst? What do you got in mind?
Oh man, you tell me if it's too dark. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So my idea was that he's this over-analytical man. He's got this PhD in philosophy, specialty is in medical ethics, and so I wanted him to have some type of otherworldly experience that he denies, right? And his that would be his catalyst, I suppose. And then this question that he's searching for is he's looking for a way to justify these things in a reductionist physical world thing. Everything can be explained. He admits to the fact that there's something beyond his explanation going out there, but not to the fact that he can't explain it.
Right. It's not that it's magic. It's that nobody yet has been able to break down the truth of what it is yet, and it is likely just scientific and misunderstood.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking of ways to have that happen, and I love the idea storytelling wise of things externally that happen to people, because that's life, right?
Yeah,
You get in a car accident, there are things outside of our control. But I was just kind of sitting out there thinking, what if it was not only something that he brought upon himself, but something that he's struggling with? So I kind of had the idea that one night over cigars and scotch and a heated academic squabble that he murdered his dean. And that he's a literal murderer. So
That's dark, but I like it.
maybe by accident or what I think
He recalls it as an accident.
he recalls it as an accident. It was a crime of passion or whatever that was capable of covering up. But then the spirit, the essence, however that is in this world of this dean, just immediately starts like tormenting him and haunting him, and he's convinced it might be his own madness, but I think in reality it might actually be like an otherworldly, like vengeful spirit.
So it continues to haunt him to this day.
From time to time.
From time
I
to
think.
time. But what does he use to cope or keep it at bay?
Oh, I haven't really thought about that. That's it.
You don't have to decide right now, but
Yeah.
that's a question to think in mind.
Yeah.
Because everyone eventually finds a coping mechanism, especially in mind of somebody that doesn't believe the thing that's happening before their eyes.
Okay.
You know, so something to ponder to that regard.
I'd probably stay away from like a stereotype like booze or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe make it a little bit, something, I don't know.
Is it work? Does he immerse himself in his work? Does he take weird, unexpected, random vacations beyond New Fair and like disappears into the woods for 2 weeks? Nobody asks questions.
He probably did that before.
That's valid.
A coping mechanism. That's a really cool idea.
Something to think about.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay, so definitely haunted. Definitely, as you develop the story, and I'd like if you can to write this up a bit and send me an email, where that investigation led. Because, of course, the disappearance of a dean at the university is going to make waves. So is it, how long has it been since then? Has the investigation kind of gone cold? Is it still active? And you're kind of day-to-day living in this nervous wrecked state of waiting for someone to find out? Or, think about that and go ahead and just implement that into your story.
Okay.
How did you cross paths with the Candela Obscura? Did you seek them out? Did they seek you out? Was it happenstance? And what keeps you occasionally wanting to work with them if they call you in for certain investigations?
Yeah, I think that's got to be like a source of him trying to figure out his own issues, and he's I think stumbled across is a good word for it. Like he was looking for something deeper and got himself in too deep in his own solo ventures, because I don't think he's like by nature a team guy.
Yeah.
But if you know anyone in academics, you know that it's part and parcel to the job. You have to be able to work with a team, even if you despise it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's where Howard finds himself at most times. But he's not totally devoid of a heart and feeling. He's redeemable. There are good things about him, but I feel like watching everybody else create their character, I feel like there are things about them that could bring out the better parts of Howard, maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe he kills them all. I don't know. It depends.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah. All right, cool. So I think as you kind of develop the backstory and kind of contemplate that journey, consider the things about Candela that continue to give Howard a reason to agree to investigate on their behalf. Does he consider himself really a member of Candela Obscura, or does he see it as a means to his own curiosity? Does he believe in what they're doing, or does he use them as a tool to eventually show everyone else that what they believe is absurd?
I mean, as you say it out loud, that's more what it leans to. But again, I don't know what his experiences are going to be. So
yeah, so, I mean, and as far as I'd say consider how long you've been.
Yeah.
How long ago this system is? How long has it been haunting him?
Mm-hmm.
And when did that kind of crossroads with Candela happen? And how long has it been since he's begun working with them? And sometimes for the instance of people that Candela reaches out to, it'd be kind of, they have a dossier of different people with different experiences and skill sets. And when an investigation comes up, they might reach out to you once every 6 months.
Yeah.
A few times a year to go ahead and look into something. Sometimes it's a hoax. Sometimes it's very odd. And you come back with a very logical explanation as to what happened. And they go, "Thank you, Professor, for your work. Put it in the box, seal it.
Sure.
We'll be in contact." I imagine there's probably a little bit of tension with some of the contacts and people you've worked with there. And if you want to create one or two people within Candela Obscura that you may have a relationship with, positive or negative, you are welcome to. because you do have some experience with there, and you have a personality and a history that already puts you slightly philosophically at odds with the overall organization. You can decide whether or not that's crept up during previous investigations and whether or not that's affected relationships with one or more people in the crew.
Okay.
But yeah, these are all fun thoughts to go ahead and build on, and we can go ahead and discuss via email before our first session on where it lands.
Yeah, I'll type some stuff up.
So I had a chance to talk with some of you, and we'll discuss independently via email and stuff, shoring up some of your story elements. So the three of you will have, when we come into the story, will have already worked with Candela to a certain degree, and will be essentially assembled as a new circle that will take in a new fourth member, which will be yours. And we'll figure out as it happens how that transpires. Likely, the three of you will have some dynamics. You may have crossed paths or worked in a previous investigation or two in the past together, or at least know of each other. You can decide what those, dynamics may be. It is, when it comes to Ashley's character, which is Augie, the only person that likely has any history with Augie, or it would likely be your Charlotte. If it's whether just a passing history or actually do know each other in the past, you both can decide. But here's some fun, interesting relationship questions that are part of the Candela book that can help kind of spur some of this conversation. Let's start with here. Arlo, of Charlotte and Howard, what do you see one or the other as? Like, let's pick one. Let's go with Howard. Howard, do you see them as an old friend, as a rival, as a mentor, as just a coworker, a confidant? Do you see him as a bully? Do you see them as just an absolute stranger, even though you've maybe worked together once?
No. You work at the college, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Thank you for remembering.
Yes. And that is, I live in the Briar Green, so I'm sure we've crossed paths. What are you a professor of?
Philosophy. Yeah. Medical ethics.
Yes, I've taken your classes.
Oh, are you certain? I remember most of my students. What grade did you get? Do you recall?
I didn't pay much attention at the time, so I assume I didn't get a very good grade.
You were auditing the class then.
Yes, philosophy wasn't a large priority for me.
Oh, well, it rarely is.
Yeah.
A former student?
Yeah, that's kind of fun, right?
That is fun.
Sure, that's really fun.
So would you consider that kind of a mentor?
Yeah.
Okay. We want to choose one of those questions under mentor to ask of the two of you.
Oh, that is a good. Maybe that is. Okay, here's a question. Would I have known? Like, is your membership in the Candela Obscura a secret?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For the most part, anyone's membership
Most
to
people.
Candela, most people don't even know about it. It is a very, very, very secretive society.
I'll take it a step further. The Arlo, or the sorry, I'm using your character. The Howard that you just got was Howard, your professor. It has nothing to do with the Howard that will probably be present when we're working.
Completely
That
different
was
person.
you just got the mask.
The mask.
For sure.
Solid.
Yeah. Do you know like roughly how old your character is?
Yes, my character is very early 20s.
Oh, okay. So a recent student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, because I would like this to have been kind of recent. Should I? Because I was thinking maybe once this happened, once I wanted to seek out Candela, like how if I would have gone somehow like found it through you, or maybe the first time we showed up and I was at an assignment with you, it'd be kind of fun to like be surprised to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's more fun.
Like seeing your professor out at the club.
Hang on a minute.
For sure.
You're a real person?
Not just me. Is that only because I went to school in Vegas? I
I didn't go to clubs, so I don't know.
There you go.
I like that.
That's very fun.
Though this one, like, there's a couple on here that, what lie did this person teach you about the world? That's kind of a fun one.
Oh yeah.
Or
Well, as an occultist, you're a true believer, right? And I'm a supreme skeptic.
right,
So that could be super fun.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, as comparably newer, or at least lesser experienced members of Candela
For a couple of
Obscura-
years now, I assume, right?
Yeah. Like a handful of times over the past year or two.
Okay. Yeah.
If that's what you'd like. Charlotte has been with the organization quite a bit longer. So I will say, how do you both see Charlotte in the times that you've encountered?
She sizes people up a lot. You would know that I have been on many missions. And you would have heard through, let's find that accent again. You would have heard through other people that she's seen some shit. And that's all.
Tough to admit. Oh, well, that sounds like fun. We both share an ally that seems to be in conflict with our rivalry. Who is it, and why are you tied to them? I think it would be
The ally that seems to be in conflict to our
with our rivalry. I like
like
so
you both
like
have a common friend.
well,
Oh, we have a yeah.
and I would
the middle
immediately
person.
think you, because you know if I come into this where she's like my surrogate student, and then we are in this thing, and you're the person in charge. I
And
don't know.
also, I've heard some of the things that you've taught her. And
And
it's-
well, yeah, she vibes with what you're into more, you know.
told her what?
Yeah.
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 I like that.
That's fun. So you're both almost fighting over the world view of this young and somewhat bleed-touched woman. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Woo me. Win me.
Anjali,
Yeah.
if you want to look at this list and see if there's a particular relationship dynamic about one of the player characters that you'd like to ask and develop based on these,
And Augie too.
Augie as well, and because you have possibly a relationship with Augie, you may.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the soulmate. And what do you see in this person that they don't see in themselves? I see grit. In the face. Yeah, grit. Grit in the face of fear, in the face of, like, I understand that they have fear underneath them, and they might have a... Well, actually, you've lived your life by grit already, so... I think it's that I see the fear. I got fight, I got grit. But I see the fear, and I know if you're able to harness that fear and not conquer it, but make friends with it, you will actually be even stronger and more cunning. Yeah, like there's something about, I see in you what I was when I was younger.
The potential to be greater if fostered properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Augie, how do you see Charlotte?
I do like this mentor because I feel like that makes sense. This person once saved your life. What happened? Maybe there was a moment between us.
If it's in the real world, what about if, like, you pickpocketed some other thieves or something like that, and I saw it happen, and they were going after you, and I sweet-talked them out of it? Or I knew them, and they knew me, and they knew better than to cross me.
I like it.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I know this is weird. Can I say maybe I don't want to pick the rivals?
Sure. Yeah.
Of course. I know.
No, I love
it-
you
it-
said that.
you made your decision
I
already,
actually
you
had
have to
that.
stick to it.
Yeah.
I had that moment too when I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, we're doing this again.
It feels good to the story and it makes sense, but we've got a lot of mentors and students going on, and I just don't want to fight with you again. I know that sounds weird. Can I see
I
the
don't
sheet?
want-
No, of course.
I know
by all
that's-
means.
I don't
so
know.
That's not
thank
weird at
you,
all. I
love
think
that.
that's great perspective
Yeah.
and an opportunity to go ahead and
I like to
change
go with
the dynamic.
enemy.
There's
Oh, you're
another
cranking it up a
cool
bit.
prompt there, the confidant, which is They know they know a deep dark secret. What is it? That's kind of interesting too.
Or is it the catalyst?
Boy, that could really cook into what we were talking about earlier.
That's true.
If she's the confidant and the only. Are you game for that? All right.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
So
Especially.
I'm the only one that knows Jewish secret, or vice versa?
No.
Think you got to know mine.
Well, what is it?
What?
What do you?
Laura and Ashley, if you would leave the room.
Yeah. You guys. We can back channel and discuss that.
Sorry for making a decision and then backpedaling.
No.
Yeah.
That's what Session Zero is about.
Okay.
It's all soup. Now, Augie. Now you guys can stay here for this since you will be watching this with us when we get to watch how your world gets turned upside down in this first episode somehow. But tell us a little about Augie. Where do you see their background, their story, their history? What got them to where they are now in New Fair?
Well, I think they grew up in the orphanage.
Okay, I think Augie grew up in the orphanage.
What orphanage?
The
More industrial one or the more
let's go more
religious?
industrial.
That'd be the steel.
Okay, so grew up in the orphanage in the Steel, and I think the head master of the head mistress of the orphanage. I think a lot of the kids would have to work in the industrial complex in the factories.
Gotcha.
So, I've had a job since I was a kid. And I think Augie's now 19.
19. Okay.
So out of the system, but has been a ward of the state, or, and is now grown up on the streets, got into a little bit of trouble, knows how to pickpocket, knows how to sell shit. Wheeler, dealer, what do you need? What can I get you? But is really doesn't have a closeness with anybody except the situation that we had when I first met you, and was kind of the first time anybody stood up for me before.
Okay. Cool.
And that was a weird thing to experience.
Did you age out of Miss Flanagan's, or did you like leave before you turned 18?
That's a good question. I left because I didn't like what was going on and how Miss Flanagan was running shit. So I left when I was 16, and I've been living on the streets since then.
Okay.
You've been hiding out.
I've been hiding out.
Do you have dreams of Santa Fe?
Santa Fe, here I come. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
I've been, I work for, if we can lean into it, maybe there's like whatever is the popular paper, I'm selling the papes.
Yeah.
I'm getting stories. I get, I'm going in, I'm spying for people.
Yeah. Making a little scratch on the side.
Probably
Living from like abandoned homestead to abandoned apartment. There are a number of warehouses and spaces that, often for periods of time are vacant, and a lot of the street rats and the go-getters of the gutter, if you will, will kind of build temporary communes in some of these spaces before they eventually get raided by the periphery and then pushed back out to find their next homestead, and the cycle continues. So you probably have a network of people that you may trust to a certain degree, but it's largely like a survival-based trust.
Yes.
And it's up to you. So if you want to establish some other street kin folks that you have a network surrounding in the city, you can develop a handful of names and people that you want to create in that space. You can develop them as part of your history and send them to me.
Okay.
And I'm not. Correct me. I'm not like a leader so much as like in age I'm the most senior member here, so I'm not
Correct.
like necessarily someone who would have conscripted of this group.
Not necessarily. I mean, when you say conscripted, you may have been sent to talk to them. There are light keepers of Candela Obscura, and they are the highest members there. They are the eldest, and many have been around for a very long time. Many of them themselves were investigators for many years and then retired because they absorbed too much bleed, and themselves it was too dangerous to go back out. And so instead they oversee and organize new talent and people that are doing exactly what you're doing. So no, you're not a light keeper necessarily, but you're more experienced than anyone else in this circle would be. You can decide whether or not that's, a dozen or so investigations. A number of them probably didn't amount to much, and then some of them, some weird shit went down, and you have a little bit of experience on that. Yeah.
I kind of imagine it like we're accidentally on a Candela mission and we just don't know it. Like like we're investigating something
that they're also
walking us
investigating.
down this path, and then we have
then someone else shows up
encounter
and is
the
like,
official
"No."
person, and we
That's
realize
fun.
you're in too deep.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
They've seen too much.
But that happened a while
Long,
ago.
a while back,
That was like our session 0,
Right.
and since then we've been.
Let me say a while back, could have been like a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you do outside? Like, who would you be
In the
to
outside
me
world.
in the outside world?
I think there are businesses out there that everybody knows are fronts for like the gangs and not necessarily the mafia, but like that kind
Maybe
of
moving some
sent-
product. Maybe moving some scarlet.
I think I am someone who is part of the front and for a business.
Okay.
Talent for talent. Let me think.
There is kind of like a pseudo prohibition era
Right.
currently enacted against
I-
Charlotte. And
What I want is for this character to, she has lots of connections because she knows a lot of people, a lot of seedy people in bad, nefarious things. So she has a lot of,
That would make sense.
she has a lot of spies, she has a lot of people. If I have a lot of other people looking out for getting us information, I might have seen you do that before I even met you. Like understood, heard that you were out there providing information for people before I even met you.
Are you like a club owner? What is it that you do?
I want to say if it's pseudo prohibition era, let's make it an underground like
A
speakeasy.
I love that.
are you running it, or are you just one of the partners?
I am the proprietress.
Okay, because like I was saying, like in this sort of a business, there are benefits to being higher up on the the overall structure, and there are
Huge bad.
huge drawbacks to it as well. So you get to decide how involved you are in that business, and you can develop that as part of your backstory as well. And just let me know.
What's the speakeasy called? I know. What's it called? What's it called?
we'll think of a name.
Yeah, you can think
Love
of a name.
this.
Think of some people that you work with in that business as well, and you can develop those NPCs and send them to me. And
And I'll see if I can figure out a different criminal front too, if it's not necessarily a speakeasy, because
up
I
to you.
don't want. I mean, speakeasies are just fun. Speakeasies are just fun.
And then we can just go to a speakeasy.
And then we
like,
can do
after we
research
shoot.
by going to a speakeasy.
before we
yes,
shoot.
Absolutely.
mean,
When we
I'm here for it.
Absolutely. I've got that.
Let's,
No
let's
qualms here.
go
What
now.
exactly is
Let's
the
leave
budget
right now.
for that, everyone? Anyone?
God, I'm wondering if I want to change my thing now. I love the idea of you saving Augie's life. But with that, there's some others that I like. Like you admire this person above all others. What makes you feel that way? Probably seeing how you run the business and how you're just a boss. Or what lie did this person teach you about the world? Do they know you've uncovered the truth? Could that tie in anywhere, or would that be?
I don't know that I would ever lie to you.
Okay.
Not to you.
I think we keep
To plenty of other people,
okay,
Yeah.
but not to you.
I like that for you though. To like you taught me that you don't have to be what you present to the world. You can be something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay,
Cool.
that's cool.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Well-
Any other questions, concerns, curiosities? Any other sound words?
So many. I know I'm gonna as soon as we leave, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna think.
And that's okay. You can email, text, call, whatever the case may be. I'm at your disposal until we play this first game. But let's go ahead and just review one more time as we go around the table here. Robbie, your character name, your role, and your specialty.
I am Professor Howard Margrove, PhD. I'm a scholar and a professor.
Fantastic. Laura.
I am occultist Arlo Black
Fantastic. The weird role.
of the weird variety.
Wonderful.
I am Charlotte Eves, and I'm a face. I'm a face magician. I make magic with my face. Yes, face magician.
Beautiful. Love it. Ashley.
I am Augie James. He's a bit of a criminal.
All right. All right.
Ding, ding, ding.
I love it. I love it. Little slink criminal over here. Well, perfect.
Slink. That's right.
That's all good. Well, thank you all. I'm super excited to play this with you. It's going to be fun.
Oh,
So to just jump into new hair.
I can't wait to see
soon
what
enough.
everybody's dressed like when we finally shoot.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So yeah, so because you all have a circle that you do craft together, if you want to take a look now and kind of decide in advance on both a name and the sort of circle ability that you want to pick.
What kind of names? What kind of names are other circles?
Well, here we go. Here's some of the examples they have here on the sheet. It's a circle name options. The circle of something. As soon as
right. The
So
circle.
circle of fire, circle of blade, circle of whispers, circle of hope, circle of darkness, circle of venom, circle of womb. Okay. Circle of jade, circle of atlas. Those are examples. But
The circle of darkness. I mean, clearly. Circle of darkness.
Circle of. All
circle
right.
of the serpent, circle of the descent.
Circle of the circle.
But you can also diverge from that if that doesn't feel inspiring necessarily. There we do have some circle abilities in the circle sheet. If you look at it over there, you can look through the different circle abilities and get an idea for what you might pick, or at least get a feel for what your options are in advance. So when we do bind the circle, you guys can choose what you'd like.
I think, I feel like the one that makes the most sense for our first session together would be trauma bonding.
Okay.
I like the trauma bonding thing because it rewards us for
Helping
each other out.
Yeah.
Rather than feeling like I have to. I mean, like, it's nice. You are making a sacrifice, but you are potentially also being rewarded for it.
Right.
So
Yeah, given the 3-episode arc that we're playing this out with the circle, it would likely, if you were to level up your circle, it would likely end this arc with leveling up. So you likely won't be able to choose a secondary ability for this particular series of games that we're playing, but in campaign play, that would signify pretty much when it levels up.
Got it.
But that also lets you know that all the different resources that your circle has are pretty much what you got until the end of these 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So
gotcha, right, because we don't have
not
extra
growing
stuff.
Right.
Okay.
And they're really cool, like XP boosters, like built into all this, but none of them make sense to pick that we're just
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
doing a limited.
So yeah, trauma bonding seems like the best.
okay,
choice.
cool. So we'll go ahead and pencil in trauma bonding for the time being. And should that change in the interim, but when we come around to actually forging it, Laura got the first. You were so close.
I know.
What are words for, like, the hidden and the seen?
Yeah.
Well, those are words for words for the hidden and the seen are the hidden and the seen, but also like circle of the seen and unseen, circle of the. I mean, I like circle of the unseen,
Circle of the unseen.
Circle of the Unseen is so cool.
but that's only one. Do we have to have two?
It doesn't
don't
have
have
to
to.
be two. Circle of the unseen.
The unseen. We're unseen because we're seen, but we're unseen.
Where'd they go?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Circle of the Vassal and the Veil. You know.
Oh,
That's
way cooler than anything.
Jeez Louise,
Wow.
throwing that out there.
I name shit for a living, okay?
That's what the fucking veil.
The Vassal and the Veil.
That's just a name. It's just an idea.
How do
Like
you spell vassal? I don't even know what that means.
V-A-S-S-E.
Oh, V-A-S-S?
Vassal is what I said, but
What does vassal mean?
a vassal is a person under protection of a feudal lord.
Yeah, it's like a serf.
A serf.
Oh,
And veil like a veil.
Yeah.
Mask.
Like a.
But it could also be the veil, the magic
veil.
veil.
I mean, referring more to like the commoner in the shadow.
Right.
Vassal and Veil.
Vassal and Veil. I mean, who doesn't love a good alliteration?
Yeah.
The mood lighting has
True.
proven it to me.
Yeah, you did that.
Veil.
I just wanted to fuck with the lights.
Circle of.
I think that was basically the lighting helping us
That's the-
decide.
yeah.
It's like my dog picking his name.
That's the one.
If it responds, it responds.
Yeah.
Vassal. A person under the protection of a feudal lord to whom he has vowed homage and fealty.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
great.
I mean,
like we
pretty
vowed fealty to Candela.
Okay.
and it's behind the veil, the magic behind the veil. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I like it.
I didn't mean to name your circle. I was just putting a suggestion out there to get
No, it's
creative.
better
people.
than
It was like a really good one.
Really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And
We'll
we
take
only
it.
had one.
Congratulations.
We only had one
Yeah.
one word that we were remotely close to. So having
The
two
unseen.
words.
The unseen is good.
I still like
Like backup.
Unseen's good too.
What if the speakeasy is like the unseen? Like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
speakeasy could be a really fun name.
Yeah.
The unseen is perfect for a speakeasy.
Oh yeah, no, I'll use the unseen if we ain't using it for our circle.
Something unseen could be cool. God, I'd love to use speakeasy. But you're the proprietress.
I mean,
So you work
Figuring that
behind
out.
the
We're
scenes.
figuring that out because I don't know if I want to take the potential danger that.
Because
Right.
it's kind of like
sight
Also, if I
unseen.
run off and go
Sight
do like,
unseen. Oh, that is
I go off and do
Sight unseen for
things,
speakeasy.
you know, for Candela.
yeah.
And what happens to my
Well,
So I'd
thankfully,
rather not
Candela
be.
stuff is rare. You know, it's only a handful of times a year, maybe.
right? So I'm going away to meet my sister aunt. Yeah, I'm gonna decide over
figure
the
it out.
course of now. Yeah, whether or not I'm the proprietress.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Speakeasy.
Yeah, that's really cool. Plus,
So
Figure
it
it
gives
out.
us a fun location to like meet up in.
Yeah.
You know, if we wanted to. Like maybe we showed up at your speakeasy a couple times to see like what.
Belongs to my brother. No, like something or something like that. But yeah.
I can't wait to interact with the person with no education. This is gonna be
Oh,
good.
Zero.
Good.
Zero education.
But he's got smart.
No, I learned
Yep.
some
He's got
things.
tons-
Street smart.
He's
Street
got
smart.
one. He's got tons of
That's
smart.
why I said education,
Yes,
not
very
intelligence.
True. Very, very
That's
true.
true. That's true.
It is a whole different type of
I
learning.
can't wait until the end of this session. We're gonna be going, hey!
I
got another ghost,
That's what
baby!
seriously, I'm like, Charlotte's gonna start sounding very regal and then gradually.
Thank you all for watching Candela Obscura. It's been a good time.
Hey!
Local toy stores. Yeah.
I like the sight unseen.
The sight unseen.
The sight unseen.
That's cool. Well, fantastic.
I'm excited.
I think let's go ahead and run off to the four corners, figure this shit out, and come back and play this fucking game.